Got some breaking news out of the Supreme Court, not far from where we're sitting right now, where a new decision from the justices means West Virginia cannot stop a trans girl from playing on the girls' sports team, at least for now, in a case that could have a bigger impact nationwide, with more and more states putting in place laws to restrict LGBTQ plus rights. You've got the court refusing to let West Virginia fully enact a law called the Save Women's Sports Act, which has the effect of letting 12-year-old Becky Pepper Jackson stay on her school's cross-country and track teams. Again, at least for now. It all comes as the White House today is putting out a new proposal that basically says school sports teams cannot categorically ban transgender athletes. And they're calling out the anti-LGBTQ plus bills making their way through state houses across the country. Listen.
LGBTQI plus kids are resilient. They are fierce. They fight back. They're not going anywhere, and we have their back. This administration has their back.
Our Supreme Court reporter Lawrence Hurley is joining us now. So break it down for us, what this decision by the Supreme Court means and what it doesn't mean.
Well, as you indicated, this is the part of like a much bigger process that's going on. You know, the various states are passing these laws. The administration is trying to figure out how the law applies. So this was like the first time this issue had even come up at the Supreme Court. And it's a very early indication. Maybe it doesn't really say much about what they're going to say if the actual law comes before them. In this case, all it means is that this one girl, Becky, can participate in her girls' sports teams back in West Virginia. And so in that sense, it's kind of a narrow decision, but it also means the court is showing it's not super keen to get involved on this issue right now. And I think what we've heard from the lawyers on both sides is that, you know, Becky's lawyers obviously are very pleased that she's going to be able to continue to participate on the team that she's been doing for the last couple of years. And they've stressed that there was no emergency here. This came up as an emergency application to the Supreme Court by the Attorney General in West Virginia. And the lawyers for this transgender athlete are saying there was no emergency here, no reason to come up to the court at this time. You know, no one's objected to her really participating on the team at a school or in the school district. Meanwhile, the state says this is just a procedural decision, doesn't say anything about what the court might say on the merits.
We talked about some of the ways that there is a sort of sweepier push in some states around the country to restrict LGBTQ plus rights, specifically as it relates to transgender athletes. We heard the White House talk about that today. Talk us through some of that and what the impact could be from this decision, if any.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, there's 20 states now that have these laws. The Biden administration is saying, you know, their interpretation of the law is that maybe some participation of transgender athletes could be limited in competitive sports, but not a categorical ban like West Virginia's. So this legal battle is going to continue, it's going to go up through the court system, and ultimately the Supreme Court may end up actually issuing a ruling that will decide once and for all whether these laws can stay in place.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.